Kaiarst tion take ti hipiro to seoas. The Galactic Union patrol vessel Celestial Guardian shuddered as its sensors locked onto the unidentified ship lingering at the edge of the Orion Arm. Fleet Commander Zach Star stood rigid in the command center, his crystalline exoskeleton catching the blue light of the bridge displays. The six-fingered hand of his primary limb tapped rhythmically against his command console as the unknown vessel continued to ignore their hails. "Send the message again," he ordered, his voice resonating with harmonic undertones. "Standard greeting, all frequencies." Senior Communications Officer Pelnera nodded, her feathered crest rippling with concentration as she repeated the standard first contact protocols. Silence answered them. "Commander," called Science Officer Vex Moore, his compound eyes widening as he studied the sensor readings. "Deep scan analysis complete. These readings, they cannot be accurate." Zaxthar moved to the science station with quick, fluid movements. "Explain." "The ship appears to be of human origin," Vex Moore said, mandibles clicking in confusion. "But the energy signature suggests propulsion technology at least 5 generations beyond anything humans should possess. The whole composition contains elements not found in any registered human vessel." The commander's inner eyelids flickered in concern. Humans were classified as a Category 3 species, limited interplanetary travel capability, restricted to their home system by Galactic Union regulations. Their technological development had been carefully monitored and controlled for nearly 3 centuries since first contact. This vessel suggested a troubling reality. Could it be stolen technology? Zaxthar asked, studying the ship's unusual design. It bore little resemblance to the bulky, inefficient vessels Earth had been permitted to build. "Unlikely, Commander," Vex Moore replied. "The integration is too seamless. This wasn't cobbled together from stolen parts. The design architecture is distinctly human, but the implementation is advanced, far beyond what our intelligence suggests they should be capable of." The implications were disturbing. If humans had managed to hide this level of advancement, what else might they be concealing? The Galactic Union's careful balance of power among its 37 member species depended on technological parity and adherence to development restrictions. "Alert Union Command," Zaxthar decided. "Request a containment fleet. This requires immediate investigation." He straightened, his exoskeleton shimmering with tension. "Until reinforcements arrive, maintain observation distance, and continue scanning. I want to know everything about that ship." The bridge crew moved with renewed purpose, their earlier boredom forgotten. This routine patrol had suddenly become the most important mission of their careers. On the bridge of the UES Prometheus, Captain Ilara Voss stood with her hands clasped behind her back, watching the alien patrol ship on the main view screen. Though her posture projected confidence, she felt a flutter of anticipation in her stomach. After decades of preparation, true first contact was finally happening. "They've scanned us 4 times now," reported Lieutenant Commander Jaden Chen, monitoring the sensor array. "Deep penetration scans." "They know what we are, Captain." Ilara nodded, unsurprised. "And their communications, increasing in frequency," answered Communications Officer Amara Okafor. "They're calling for backup. Heavy encryption, but we can decode it. They're requesting significant reinforcements." Chief Tactical Officer Marcus Reeves approached from his station, data tablet in hand. At 57, he was the oldest member of the crew, his hair streaked with gray, face weathered by years of service. "The patrol ship has changed position," he reported. "They're keeping their distance, but have maneuvered to cut off our most direct route back to Sol." "Not that we plan to retreat," Ilara said with a slight smile. At 42, she had earned command of humanity's most advanced vessel through years of dedication to Earth's secret space program. "Are they within range of the message probe?" she asked. "Yes, Captain," replied Okafor. "Launch it," she ordered. "Let's make sure they understand exactly who we are before their friends arrive." A small probe shot from the Prometheus, its silver hull glinting in the light of distant stars as it sped toward the alien vessel. It carried no weapons, only a simple message in the Galactic Union's standard language. The United Earth ship Prometheus extends greetings to the Galactic Union. We come in peace, seeking formal recognition and diplomatic relations as equals. Their weapon systems are powering up, Chen reported tensely. Hold position, Ilara commanded. Let them make the first hostile move if that's their choice. The probe stopped a safe distance from the Union vessel, projecting a holographic message into space. After a moment, the alien weapons powered down. They've received it, said Okafor. No response yet. Ilara turned to face her crew. 24 men and women looked back at her, their faces showing a mixture of pride and anxiety. They represented Earth's best engineers, scientists, and military personnel who had spent years preparing for this moment. This is what we trained for, she reminded them. The Galactic Union has kept humanity isolated and technologically stagnant for 3 centuries, all while harvesting resources from our system. Today we show them that humans will no longer accept second-class status in the galaxy. Captain, Chen interrupted. Long-range sensors are detecting multiple ships approaching at high speed. Configurations match Galactic Union military vessels. Estimated arrival: 40 minutes. Ilara nodded calmly. Right on schedule. Tactical display. The view screen shifted to show their position and the approaching Union fleet, 16 ships forming a standard containment pattern. The Prometheus had been built to face such odds. Begin power-up sequence for the Einstein drive, she ordered. Let's give them a proper demonstration of human ingenuity. As her crew carried out her commands, Ilara thought about the decades of secret work that had led to this moment. While officially complying with Union restrictions, Earth had established hidden research bases throughout the solar system. Scientists had worked tirelessly, developing technologies that were theoretically impossible according to the limited scientific knowledge the Union had shared with humanity. The Prometheus represented the pinnacle of those efforts, a ship capable of manipulating space-time in ways the Union believed impossible for primitive humans to understand. Today would change everything. Today, humanity would take its rightful place among the stars. Union fleet is accelerating, reported Chen. They'll be here in 30 minutes. Perfect, said Ilara, a determined smile crossing her face. Let's show them what humanity has been up to. The Galactic Union containment fleet surrounded the Prometheus, 16 warships forming a tight ring around the human vessel. Each Union ship was at least twice the size of the Prometheus, their weapons trained directly on the small Earth ship. The formation was designed not just to trap but to intimidate. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Captain Ilara Voss watched the display with outward calm. Her crew worked quietly at their stations, tension filling the air. They're hailing us, said Okafor, her fingers moving across her console. Audio and visual on screen, Ilara ordered, straightening her midnight blue uniform. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing the command center of the Union flagship. High Admiral Krell stood in the center, his tall, imposing form dominating the screen. His silver-scaled skin reflected the light of the bridge, the cranial crest marking his rank fully extended. Human vessel. Krell's deep voice resonated through the speakers. You will surrender your ship for inspection. The technology you possess has clearly been stolen from superior civilizations. Compliance is mandatory. The accusation hung in the air. Several of Ilara's crew looked up from their stations, waiting for her response. High Admiral, Ilara replied, her voice steady and controlled. I am Captain Ilara Voss of the United Earth ship Prometheus. This technology is of human design and manufacture. We developed it ourselves. On the screen, Krell's vertical pupils contracted in surprise. Behind him, several officers exchanged glances. Impossible, Krell stated flatly. Your species is barely capable of interplanetary travel. The Union has monitored your development closely. Not closely enough, it seems, Ilara responded with a small smile. Vice Admiral Trellnar stepped forward and whispered urgently in Krell's ear. The High Admiral's expression darkened as he listened. "Captain Voss," Krell said finally, "your vessel will power down all systems and prepare to be boarded. This is not a request. Compliance will determine whether your crew is treated as misguided or as criminals." Ilara shook her head. "I'm afraid that won't be possible, High Admiral. We come seeking diplomatic recognition, not surrender. The Prometheus remains under Earth jurisdiction." Reeves stepped closer to Ilara and spoke quietly. "Captain, they're activating targeting systems." "Shields at full," Ilara ordered without taking her eyes off the screen. Krell's mouth twisted in what might have been amusement. "Shields. Your primitive defenses will not." His words cut off as his tactical officer interrupted with urgent information. The High Admiral's expression changed to one of shock as he received the report. "What manner of shield technology is this?" he demanded, staring at Ilara with new intensity. "As I said, High Admiral, human technology," she answered calmly. "Perhaps it's time for our peoples to speak as equals." The communication suddenly cut off. Reeves glanced at the tactical display with concern. "They're forming an attack pattern," he reported. "Energy readings suggest weapons charging." Ilara turned to face her bridge crew. "Remember your training. We knew this would be a possibility." She tapped her console. "All stations, prepare for defensive maneuvers. No return fire unless I give the order. We didn't come here to start a war." The tension on the bridge thickened. Lieutenant Chen positioned his hands over the helm controls, ready to execute evasive maneuvers. Before Krell could give the order to fire, a new ship appeared at the edge of sensor range. It was sleek and dark, moving with incredible speed. "Unknown vessel approaching," reported Security Chief Liana Patel. "It's not Union design." The newcomer sent out a wideband transmission that reached both the Prometheus and the Union fleet. The message was simple. "This dispute has drawn the attention of the Arcturian collective. We offer safe passage to the human vessel." Okafor looked up in surprise. "Captain, the Arcturians are the main rivals to the Galactic Union. They control nearly a third of this sector." "I know who they are," Ilara replied. The appearance of the Arcturians complicated matters significantly. Earth had planned for first contact with the Union, not to be caught in the middle of an interstellar Cold War. The Union ships immediately shifted focus, several turning to face the Arcturian vessel. Krell's face reappeared on the screen. "Captain Voss, do not trust the Arcturians. They seek only to use your technology against the Union. Surrender to us, and we will ensure your people's safety." Before Ilara could respond, the Arcturian captain appeared on a split screen. Unlike the reptilian appearance of Krell, the Arcturian captain appeared almost luminescent, with translucent skin revealing complex circulatory patterns beneath. "I am Captain Thelay of the collective vessel Whisper," the Arcturian introduced themselves. "Humans, the Union has lied to you for centuries. They have kept your species isolated and technologically stunted. We offer alliance and free exchange of knowledge." Ilara glanced at Reeves, whose expression remained carefully neutral. This was a diplomatic minefield they hadn't fully prepared for. "Captain," Okafor interrupted, "we're receiving a message from Earth Command. Priority 1. Put it through to my private console," Ilara ordered. The message appeared on her screen, encrypted with Earth's highest security protocols. As she read, her expression grew increasingly grave. According to Earth intelligence, their covert operatives had finally broken into a secure Union database. The evidence confirmed their worst suspicions. The Union had not merely been monitoring human development, but actively sabotaging it for over 3 centuries. They had introduced subtle technological failures, contaminated research, and even eliminated scientists whose work threatened to advance too quickly. The message concluded with new orders. "Establish diplomatic contact with the Arcturians. Learn what you can, but make no commitments. The Prometheus is now operating under Mission Protocol Omega." Ilara's heart raced as she processed the implications. Mission Protocol Omega meant Earth was now considering the Union an active threat. The Prometheus was no longer just a demonstration of human capabilities. It was potentially the first ship in a war of independence. "Commander Reeves," she said quietly, "engage the Einstein drive. Prepare for a short tactical jump." Reeves looked surprised. "Captain, using the drive this close to other vessels could be interpreted as an aggressive action." "I'm aware," Ilara replied, "but we need to show them exactly what they're dealing with." She turned back to the split screen where both alien captains waited. "Gentlemen," she addressed them both, "the United Earth ship Prometheus appreciates your concern for our welfare. However, we will determine our own path forward." She nodded to Reeves. "Now, Commander." The bridge crew braced themselves as the Einstein drive engaged. For a moment, space-time itself seemed to bend around the Prometheus. Then, in a flash of controlled energy, the ship disappeared from the center of the Union fleet and reappeared 10,000 kilometers away. On the view screen, both alien captains stared in shock. The technology to make such a precise, short-range, space-time fold had been thought impossible by both civilizations. "We will contact both parties when we are ready for further discussions," Ilara stated firmly. "Until then, the Prometheus will maintain its independence." As the Union and Arcturian vessels scrambled to respond, Ilara knew the first move in humanity's bid for freedom had been made. The galaxy would never be the same. Broken chains. The Galactic Union Council chamber hummed with tense energy as representatives from 27 species argued over the human situation. High Admiral Krell stood at the center of the chamber, his report on the encounter with the UES Prometheus having thrown the normally orderly proceedings into chaos. "The humans have clearly violated Union law," insisted Councillor Drekthar, the Vargan representative, his tentacles writhing with agitation. "They have developed restricted technologies in secret. The punishment must be severe." "And yet," countered Councillor Mila, the Thraxi diplomat, her feathered crest rippling with contemplation, "we must consider how they managed this feat. Our monitoring systems detected nothing. This level of covert technological advancement is concerning." Supreme Councillor Orin, the eldest of the founders, raised a withered hand for silence. The chamber gradually quieted. "The question is not just how they did this." Orin's voice was soft yet carried throughout the chamber, "but why they chose to reveal themselves now. And in this manner, they could have continued their secret development. Instead, they sent a single ship directly into Union space. A demonstration," Krell offered. "A show of force. Or perhaps," Mila suggested, "a desperate plea for recognition after centuries of suppression." The chamber erupted again as multiple councillors spoke at once. Orin's expression remained troubled as he observed the chaos. The Union had always considered humans a minor species, useful for their abundant resources, but otherwise unremarkable. This sudden revelation suggested a critical error in judgment. "What of the Arcturians?" asked Councillor Vexmore. "Their involvement complicates matters significantly." "Indeed," Krell agreed. "Intelligence suggests they have already established communication with the human vessel. If they form an alliance, the implications hung heavy in the air. The delicate balance of power between the Union and the Arcturian collective had maintained an uneasy peace for centuries. If humans possessed technology that could shift that balance, war might be inevitable. "We must act decisively," Drekthar insisted. "Contain the humans, seize their technology, and ensure they understand the consequences of defiance." Orin closed his eyes briefly, weighing the options. "Send the 7th Fleet," he decided finally. "Offer the humans one last chance to surrender peacefully. If they refuse, send the 7th Fleet," Orin decided finally. "Offer the humans one last chance to surrender peacefully. If they refuse." He paused, his ancient eyes scanning the chamber. "Then we must demonstrate why the Union has remained dominant for 12 millennia." Aboard the UES Prometheus, Captain Ilara Voss studied the tactical display with her senior officers. The ship had retreated to the edge of a nebula, using the swirling gases to partially mask their energy signature. It wouldn't hide them forever, but it bought them time. "Earth Command has confirmed the Arcturians' claims," Reeves reported grimly. Union operatives have been sabotaging our technological development for centuries. They've even assassinated our scientists when conventional interference failed. The question is why? Ilara mused. Why invest so much effort in keeping humanity restricted? Dr. Kai Nakamura, the ship's chief scientist, cleared his throat. Our analysis may have an answer. The data we recovered from the Union's databases suggests that humans possess certain, unique qualities. Explain, Ilara prompted. Most Union species develop along predictable technological paths, Kai continued. They each have their specialties, but overall, they follow similar progression curves. Humans, however, demonstrate what they call cognitive divergence. We make technological leaps that don't follow expected patterns. We're unpredictable, Reeves translated. Exactly, Kai nodded. And in an interstellar civilization built on carefully managed technological advancement, unpredictability is threatening. Ilara considered this. So they've been keeping us contained not because we're primitive, but because they fear what we might become. Captain, Okafor interrupted, we're receiving a transmission from the Arcturian vessel. They're requesting to come aboard. Ilara exchanged glances with her officers. This could be our chance to learn more. Approve their request, but standard security protocols. No weapons, limited personnel. Understood, Paddle replied, activating the security systems. An hour later, Captain Thelay of the Arcturian Collective stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, their translucent form seeming to shimmer under the ship's lighting. 2 Arcturian diplomats accompanied them, their expressions unreadable to human eyes. Your vessel is impressive, Thelay acknowledged, studying the bridge controls. Though I sense you're not showing us everything. Just as you're not telling us everything, Ilara replied with a slight smile. Let's dispense with the formalities, Captain. Why are you really here? Thelay's skin rippled in what might have been amusement. Direct. I appreciate that quality in your species. They gestured to one of the diplomats, who activated a holographic display. The Union has dispatched their 7th fleet, 47 warships, including 3 dreadnoughts. They will arrive within 6 hours. That's a significant response for one human vessel, Reeves noted. They fear what you represent. Thelay explained. The Union maintains power through careful control of technological advancement. Your ship proves that control has failed. And the Arcturians? Ilara asked. What do you want from us? Alliance, Thelay stated simply. Your species has developed technologies that even we find intriguing. The Einstein drive alone would give us a significant advantage. In return, we offer protection and knowledge. Ilara studied the alien captain carefully. And if we prefer independence? The Union will never allow that, one of the diplomats interjected. They will destroy your ship and fabricate a story about how humans stole and misused alien technology. Then they will place your entire system under quarantine for generations. Before Ilara could respond, Chen called out from his station. Captain, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the nebula. Something's coming through. Tactical alert, Ilara ordered immediately. Shields up. The view screen shifted to show a massive vessel emerging from the depths of the nebula. It defied conventional design, appearing almost organic in nature, with a hull that seemed to pulse with inner light. Identify, Ilara commanded. Unknown configuration, Chen replied tensely. No match in any database. The Arcturians had gone rigid, their skin losing its luminescence. Impossible, Thelay whispered. The Voidborn are a myth. The what? Ilara asked sharply. Ancient legends speak of beings who exist between dimensions, the Arcturian diplomat explained. Voice hushed. They were said to have been the first to traverse the stars, long before the Union or the Collective. They're hailing us, Okafor reported, her voice steadier than her expression. All frequencies, standard communication protocols. On screen, Ilara ordered. The view screen flickered, revealing a being unlike any they had encountered. It appeared vaguely humanoid but seemed to shift and change as they watched, its form never quite settling. "Greetings, children of Earth," the being spoke, its voice resonating directly in their minds rather than through the ship's speakers. "We have watched your struggle with interest." Ilara straightened, fighting to maintain her composure. "I am Captain Ilara Voss of the United Earth ship Prometheus. Who addresses us?" "Names are limiting," the being replied. "Your kind might call us observers. We have monitored your species since you first looked to the stars with wonder." "Why reveal yourselves now?" Ilara asked. "Because you stand at a crossroads," the observer answered. "The path you choose will determine not only your future but that of the galaxy." Theli stepped forward. "What interest do the Voidborn have in human affairs?" The observer's attention shifted to the Arcturian. "We have no interest in your political conflicts. Our concern is with potential. The humans possess a quality rare in this galaxy: true innovation." "The Union fleet will be here soon," Reeves reminded them quietly. "Indeed," the observer agreed. "And they come not merely to subdue, but to eradicate. They fear what they cannot control." "Can you help us?" Ilara asked directly. "We do not interfere directly," the observer replied. "But we can offer guidance. Your Einstein drive. It is but a fraction of what is possible when you understand the true nature of space-time." The being gestured, and suddenly a complex mathematical equation appeared floating in the air before them. Kai gasped, moving forward to study it. This would allow us to—" He trailed off, eyes wide with realization. "A gift," the observer stated. "Use it wisely." The transmission abruptly ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Outside, the massive Voidborn vessel began to fade, seeming to dissolve back into the nebula. "Dr. Nakamura," Ilara broke the silence. "Explain." Kai was already furiously working at a console. "If I'm interpreting this correctly, Captain, we've just been given the key to perfecting the Einstein drive. This would allow us to create localized space-time distortions with unprecedented precision." "A weapon?" Reeves asked. "No," Kai shook his head. "Something far more valuable. A shield. We could create a bubble of altered space-time around Earth, one that would make it impossible for the Union to approach without our permission." Ilara turned to the Arcturians. "And now your position has changed, hasn't it, Captain Thele?" The Arcturian skin had regained some of its luminescence. "The Voidborn have not been seen for millennia. That they would reveal themselves for humans. It suggests your species is more significant than we realized." "We still offer alliance," Theli added quickly, "but perhaps on more equal terms." "Captain," Chen interrupted. "Union communication incoming. The 7th Fleet has arrived." "On screen," Ilara ordered. High Admiral Krell's face appeared, his expression cold. "Captain Voss, by order of the Galactic Union Council, you will surrender your vessel immediately or face destruction. You have one standard unit to comply." "I'm afraid that won't be possible, Admiral," Ilara replied calmly. "We've learned too much about the Union's true nature to place ourselves under your authority." "You've been deceived by Arcturian lies," Krell hissed. "They seek only to use you against us." "Perhaps," Ilara acknowledged. "But they didn't sabotage our development for centuries. They didn't assassinate our scientists." She leaned forward. "They didn't fear us." Krell's expression hardened. "You leave us no choice." The transmission cut off. Moments later, the Union fleet began to advance, weapons systems powering up. "Dr. Nakamura." Ilara turned to her chief scientist. "How quickly can you implement the Voidborn's equations?" "The calculations are complex," Kai admitted. "But with the ship's quantum computers, 15 minutes, maybe less." "You have 10, Ilara stated. "Commander Reeves, defensive maneuvers. Keep us alive until the modifications are complete." "Aye, Captain," Reeves nodded, already issuing orders. Ilara turned to Captain Theli. "I suggest you return to your vessel, Captain. What happens next may be unpredictable." The Arcturian studied her for a moment. You intend to stand against the entire Seventh Fleet? No, Ilara replied with a determined smile. I intend to change the rules of engagement. As the Arcturians departed, the Prometheus engaged its conventional drives, executing a series of complex evasive maneuvers as the Union fleet opened fire. The ship's shields, already impressive by Union standards, held against the initial barrage, but warning indicators began to flash across the tactical display. Shield integrity at 70%, Paddle reported. We can't sustain this level of fire for long. Dr. Nakamura, Ilara called. Almost there, Kai replied, fingers flying across his console. The equations are rewriting our understanding of dimensional physics. It's beautiful. The ship shuddered as a particularly heavy barrage struck their starboard shields. Shields at 45%. Patel updated. Hull breaches on decks 7 and 8. Seal those sections, Ilara ordered. Reroute power from non-essential systems. Captain, Kai called out. It's ready, but I should warn you, this is theoretical. We've never attempted anything like this before. Will it work? Ilara asked simply. Kai hesitated for just a moment. Yes, I believe it will. Then do it, she commanded. Kai activated the modified Einstein drive. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the view screen showed a ripple of distortion spreading outward from the Prometheus, like a wave through water. The Union weapons fire suddenly stopped, not because they ceased firing, but because their energy weapons bent around the Prometheus, unable to penetrate the space-time distortion. It's working, Kai breathed in amazement. We've created a bubble of altered space-time. Their weapons can't reach us. And our weapons? Reeves asked. We can fire outward, Kai confirmed, though I wouldn't recommend it. We're not here to start a war. No, Ilara agreed. We're here to end one before it begins. She turned to Okafor. Open a channel to Admiral Krell. The Admiral's face appeared on screen, his expression a mixture of rage and disbelief. What have you done? He demanded. We've changed the paradigm. Admiral, Ilara replied calmly. Your weapons cannot harm us. But more importantly, we've transmitted this technology to Earth. By now, our entire system is protected by the same shield. Krell's eyes widened. Impossible. You couldn't have. We did, Ilara interrupted. Humanity is no longer your secret to control, Admiral. We claim our independence from the Galactic Union, effective immediately. The Council will never accept this, Krell snarled. They have no choice, Ilara replied. Unless they wish to waste resources attacking the shield they cannot penetrate. She leaned forward. But we're not your enemies, Admiral. We never were. Humanity wishes to join the galactic community. As equals, not as subjects. As Krell struggled to respond, another transmission cut in. Supreme Counselor Orin's ancient face appeared alongside the Admiral's. Captain Voss, Orin addressed her directly. You have demonstrated capabilities that challenge our understanding. Perhaps it is time for the Union to reevaluate its position regarding humanity. We welcome dialogue, Counselor, Ilara replied respectfully. But we will not surrender our independence or our right to self-determination. Orin studied her for a long moment. The Union has existed for 12 millennia because it has learned to adapt. Perhaps it is time for a new chapter. He turned to Krell. Stand down the fleet, Admiral. I will convene an emergency session of the Council. Krell looked stunned. Counselor, you cannot be serious. I am quite serious, Orin interrupted. The humans have proven themselves more resourceful than we anticipated. We would be wise to recognize that reality. As the transmission ended, a cheer went up from the Prometheus crew. Ilara allowed herself a small smile of satisfaction. Well done, everyone, she said. But this is just the beginning. We've won our independence, but now we have to prove we deserve it. Captain, Okafor called out. Incoming transmission from Earth Command. They're receiving our data and implementing the SHIELD technology globally. They're also, she paused, listening to her earpiece. They're also requesting that you represent humanity in the upcoming negotiations with the Union and the Arcturians. Ilara nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. Inform them I accept. The Prometheus will return to Earth once we've established preliminary diplomatic relations. As the Union fleet began to withdraw, and the Arcturian vessel approached with offers of alliance, Ilara gazed at the stars displayed on the view screen. For centuries, humanity had looked up at these stars, dreaming of their place among them. Now they had claimed that place, not through conquest or subjugation, but through ingenuity, determination, and the courage to break free from the chains others had placed upon them. The journey ahead would be challenging. There would be suspicion, resistance, and perhaps even conflict. But humanity had proven itself capable of facing the unknown, of finding solutions where others saw only problems. And that, Ilara reflected, was humanity's true strength. Not the technology they had developed in secret, not the Einstein drive or the Spacetime shield, but the indomitable spirit that had driven them to reach for the stars despite every obstacle placed in their path. As the Prometheus set course for Earth, Ilara knew that a new chapter in human history had begun, and this time they would write it themselves.